Welcome back to the aerodynamics class, right? Today, we will discuss about measurement of air speeds, right? So, measurement of air speed is one of the important, important parameter in all our calculations in the aerodynamics. So, we should know even theoretically how to measure the air speed, right? So basically, we start with the pressure and then we go for the velocity, right? Okay, let's start the class. So I acknowledge John D. Anderson's Fundamentals of Aerodynamics, right? So let us start with the Bernoulli's equation. You have already derived the Bernoulli's equation from the momentum equation, and hence I don't derive that separately. So if you want, please ask me. I can do that in the another class. So here I will just give an overview of the Bernoulli's equation and then move forward. Right. So Daniel Bernoulli, a Swiss mathematician, explained how the pressure of the moving fluid varies with the speed of the motion. Right. So he stated that an increase in speed of movement or airflow or water flow would cause a decrease in fluid pressure. So pressure and the velocity are inversely proportional, and that is what the phenomenon we always consider when there is a flow over an airplane wing, fuselage, whatever it is. Right? So an appropriate analogy can be like in your garden hose, if you reduce the area, you can see the velocity increases, right? And the pressure decreases and so on. So we start with this general equation. P plus half rho v square is equal to constant. That is P1 plus half rho 1 v1 square is equal to P2 plus half rho 2 v2 square, where P1 and P2 are two different locations in a fluid flow, right? So if you see the velocity here, both are same, like velocity and the pressure. And then when you consider at the change in area, you have the increase in velocity and the decrease in pressure. And again, if the area resumes, you will have the same velocity and the pressure as in the starting, right? So I am not going to derive the Bernoulli's equation based on the momentum equation in this class. I recommend you to read the John D. Anderson or any other book, and you will understand what it is, because it is the reduced form of the one-dimensional momentum equation, that is P plus half rho v square is equal to constant, or P2 plus half rho 2 v2 square. Anyway, we will start the Venturi meter now. Okay. So I think this is fine, right? P plus half rho v square is equal to constant. What is P? P is a static pressure and half rho v square is a dynamic pressure. Now let us say, let us consider the flow through this duct, right? So in general, if you consider this duct, it is a three-dimensional duct, right? But we will consider only the two-dimensional case, and in another way, the area here, the area changes with only x direction, right? So we can consider the uniform flow, right? And assume that the area changes in only one direction. Then if A is equal to A of x, and I assume V is equal to V of x, and similarly pressure P is equal to P of x. So the changes takes place in the x direction only, and I can call this as quasi one-dimensional flow. Quasi one-dimensional, right? And if you take in the real case, right? The flow is in 3-dimensional, but in many applications we can consider that the x direction flow is dominant, and hence we consider this as quasi one-dimensional flow. So this is a lot of application in engineering. Even our wind tunnel behaves in such a way. So let us start with the discussion. Let us consider the continuity equation, right? So we know the continuity equation. So continuity equation in integral form, we write dou by dou t of triple integral over V rho dV plus double integral over S rho V ds is equal to 0. So we know for steady flow, we can consider this as 0, and we can have only this equation, right? This is for a steady flow. Now we can apply this equation in this particular figure, right? So we can say that the area A1 and the area A2, right? So we can write, okay, there is a upper wall, here you have upper wall and the lower wall, and the area A1, A2. So this is the boundary of this particular duct, right? So we can write this equation as double integral area A1 rho V ds plus double integral over A2 rho V ds plus double integral over wall, both the wall, upper wall and the lower wall. We can write rho V ds, that is equal to 0. Now, in the conditions, like if you consider the wall, we have a point that the ds, right? ds is the elemental area there, but here ds. So the ds is perpendicular to the wall. Then along the wall, we can assume along the wall the flow velocity is tangent to the wall, and hence we can consider this as 0. So if this is 0, this component will become 0, right? Now at station 1, right? So I divide this duct into 2, right? So I divide this duct into 2, and you see this is one duct which is convergent duct, and this is another duct, divergent duct. The only difference is here the area decreases and here the area increases with respect to the x direction, right? So this is almost the incompressible flow over the duct, right? So here since the ds and v are in opposite direction, right? The ds and v are in opposite direction because here you have a decrease in ds. I consider integral, say this integral, we can write as minus rho 1 a1 and v1 plus rho 2 a2 and v2. V is v and the area a I consider, right? That is equal to 0. So we can write finally rho 1 a1 v1 is equal to rho 2 a2 v2. So assume that the rho is equal to constant. Why we assume rho is equal to constant? That is for incompressible flow. So for incompressible flow, we can write A1 V1 is equal to A2, right? So this is the quasi one-dimensional continuity equation basically, and the second one is the incompressible equation, quasi one-dimensional continuity equation, and this is the equation for the incompressible case. Now, our ultimate goal is to measure the velocity, right? So let us start with the discussion on the velocity, right? So I would like to consider a Venturi method. This is called the Venturi method, right? So you have a convergent divergent duct, right? So let us say in this Venturi meter, you know that the area decreases from the A1 and the A2, right? And you have already the information that when the velocity decreases, pressure increases, right? And again, when the area decreases, the velocity increases, and correspondingly, the pressure will become minimum, right? So the pressure will become minimum at the point called throat. In the convergent divergent duct, there is a portion called throat. So this is a convergent duct and this is a divergent duct, right? And this is a point which is called throat, right? So at the throat, the pressure reaches the minimum value, and we call that minimum value of pressure as P2, right? So in the divergence section of the downstream, you can see that the velocity decreases and the pressure increases. This type of the flow is called Venturi, right? And this is a device which is used in many engineering applications, right? Say, for example, normally we used to say in the carburetor, in your bike, you can see in order to have a mixing of flow, we have a Venturi, right? So Venturi in general creates the change in pressure, right? And the change in velocity. Now, let us take the application of aerodynamics and we will have a derivation on the measurement of velocity, right? So, with regard to the Venturi itself, the most direct quantity we can measure is the pressure. The pressure difference we can say is P1 minus P2 is the pressure difference we can measure, right? So here you have a P1 and here you have a P2. So in order to do the calculation, we will have a discussion on the equation. We already know the equation, right? Equation for, Bernoulli's equation. So Bernoulli's equation states that P1 plus of rho 1 V1 square is equal to P2 plus of rho 2 V2 square. But we know that the density is not considered for the incompressible flow. So we can write V1 square is equal to P2 minus P1, okay, plus V2 square, right? Say if you want to consider rho as it is, right? If you want to consider rho as it is, you can consider. If not, we can leave it. And you already know from the continuity equation. So from the continuity equation, P2 minus P1, and that is equal to P2 square, right? So here it is half V2 square, here it is half V1 square, right? Yeah. Okay, so in many cases we can consider the rho is equal. We cancel the rho because the rho is equal, right? And in other way we can write this equation as, by considering rho, we can write V1 square is equal to 2 by rho into P2 minus P1 plus V2 square. So this is also possible by considering rho, even though the rho doesn't change as we consider rho. So let us consider the continuity equation. We know A1 V1 is equal to A2 V2. So V2 can be written as A1 by A2 into V1. So let us substitute this V2 in this equation, and we can obtain finally the V1 square is equal to 2 by rho into P2 minus P1 plus A1 by A2 square V1 square. So we have everything in terms of V1, and hence we can write V1 square is equal to, or we can finally write V1 is equal to root of 2 into P1 minus P2 by rho into A1 by A2 square minus 1. So please arrive to this particular equation by reducing and all those, right? So this is our final equation. By using the Venturi meter, we calculate the velocity at a particular point, right? So please arrive to this particular point, V1, that is the velocity. So here, please note, we consider rho 1 is equal to rho 2 is equal to rho, and hence we arrive to this equation. Right? So I don't I keep as it is, then rho 1 is equal to rho 2, then we come to this equation. Here it is rho V1 square, and here it is rho V2 square. So this is all about the Venturi, right? In Venturi, we can measure. You might have already studied this in the fluid mechanics lab, right? Measuring the velocity at the throat and measuring the velocity at the other location, and you might have calculated the various things, right? Pressure at various location and the calculation of velocity. So next topic is an interesting topic, which is very famous in aerospace engineering, right? Pitot static tube. So there is one Frenchman called Henri Pitot. Initially, he was trying to measure the flow velocity of the Seine River, which is in Paris. So he want to measure the flow in the liquid, right, in the water. So this is one of the first instrument which is used to measure the flow of any fluid. So he tried with a tube, right? And you will see that L-bend tube in our laboratory also, right? And this Pitot tube is really very useful, and we can calculate the velocity nicely. So let us assume this is the flow. Okay. Assume that this is a flow of fluid, and you have a tube with an orifice. There is a small open. Okay. And this open is a point where we measure the total pressure. And if the flow is in this way and if you measure something vertically, that is called static pressure. The difference between the total pressure and the static pressure is called the dynamic pressure. Right? More precisely, our pitot static tube will be like this. In our lab, if you consider, instead of having a pressure gauge, we connect it to a U-tube manometer. Right? One end may be given to the atmosphere, or if it is a pitot static tube, the static port is actually connected to the another end. So if the static port is connected to the another end, you are measuring the difference between the total pressure and the static pressure. The idea here is, say, here V1 is a velocity and P1 is a pressure, and the fluid flow from D to B, right? And B is a location in the pitot tube. Now, when the fluid molecules are trying to move from here, it slows down, and when it reaches this particular point, it cannot move further and it stops. When the velocity becomes zero, right? The velocity becomes zero. This becomes stagnant, and the pressure is called stagnation pressure. Please note, here you have a stagnation pressure. Stagnation pressure, we again call this as a total pressure in our discussion. And another pressure we measure is the static pressure, right? So whenever there is a motion of fluid molecules, it will be very much random, right? So it is like Anderson used to say like that. There are a lot of fluid molecules. Say, consider one fluid molecule, and you are traveling in that fluid molecule. When the fluid molecule moves through, it experiences lot of random motion, and at a particular point, you along with this fluid molecule will become stagnant, right? And this particular point is called stagnation pressure. Stagnation pressure or stagnation point is the point where the velocity becomes zero. Now, what is static pressure? Static pressure is a measure of the purely random motion of the molecules in the gas, right? So the random motion of a molecule, so we used to say there is a lot of collision, and all those effect finally reflects in the static pressure, right? So in our aerodynamics, whenever we say pressure, it automatically means the static pressure, right? Say when you come to the laboratory, you will see a pitot static tube which looks like this, and this is having a bend, and this will go to the manometer connection or something like that. So here you measure a pressure called stagnation pressure or the total pressure. On the surface perpendicular to the flow, you measure a pressure called static pressure. All right. So we have three pressure. One is total pressure or stagnation pressure. The English meaning of stagnation is something comes and stops. Then static pressure. And the third one is dynamic pressure. So whenever there is a fluid flow, when you insert this pitot static tube, you will be experiencing the difference in pressure, and that difference in pressure in turn gives you the dynamic pressure. Okay, so let us go back to the Bernoulli's theorem, right? What is that Bernoulli's theorem? Let us say we have 2 points here. So let us consider this point as A and this point as B. So let us write the Bernoulli's equation as PA plus of rho VA square, that is equal to PB plus of rho VB square, right? So this is the Bernoulli's equation. Now what happens is, what is the velocity at B? What is the velocity at B? Someone can say, what is the velocity at B? I say that B is a stagnation point. So what is the velocity at B?
0, sir.
Yeah. So the velocity at B becomes 0. So we can say that when B is equal to 0, we can write this equation is BA plus of rho VA square, that is equal to PB. When the velocity becomes 0, what is the corresponding pressure? When the velocity becomes 0, what is the corresponding pressure? Someone can say, please.
So stagnation pressure.
Yeah, that is stagnation pressure or total pressure. Hence, I write this as 0. The velocity is 0. So I write this as P0. So assume that this is P1 and V1, right? So P1 plus of rho V1 square equal to P0. And I can write this velocity as P0 minus P1. And this 2 will come here divided by rho. And if I want to calculate V1, I can write this. So this is the velocity, right? Velocity measured using pitot static tube. Pitot static tube. And most of the time you may hear something called pitot tube, right? So this is only pitot tube. If you don't connect this static pressure to the U-tube manometer, whatever pressure you measure is a total pressure, and this gauge will only show the total pressure, and this is called pitot tube. But this is called pitot static tube because the static port is also connected, right? So in this Bernoulli's equation, we write something called P1 plus of of rho 1 V1 square. This P1 is static pressure and this of rho V square is famously called as dynamic pressure, and this P naught called as total pressure. Is it fine? So in many cases we write like P1 plus Q1 is equal to P naught. Q1 is equal to P naught minus P1, right? So Q1 is equal to P naught minus P1 is valid for incompressible flow. Abhishavani, can you say what is Q? Abhishavani, what is Q? Aruna Priyadarshini, what is Q?
Q is the dynamic pressure.
What about P naught?
The dynamic pressure, sir.
Okay, good. What is P naught?
Total pressure.
What is P1?
Static pressure.
Okay, thank you. So this equation is valid only for the incompressible flow. Okay. Now there is another question. How about compressible flow? What happens if the fluid flow is compressible? So who can
be considered
tell me?
The first formula 1 by 2 rho v1 square is the dynamic.
Yeah, rho v1 square. Okay. Now we will try to have some discussion on compressibility correction. Right? So we already know that for incompressible flow, right? For incompressible flow, we can write the dynamic pressure Q is equal to of rho V square. So what is V? Is equal to root of 2 by rho into Q. Right? And as I said, this P naught my Q is equal to P naught minus P1 is not valid for compressible flow. Whenever we have a compressible flow, we should have something in terms of Mach number or so, then we can have it as a definition, right? I mean, if the increase in Mach number, that should be included in calculation of the compressible. Okay, so for compressible flow, now we will derive the velocity calculation, right? Now let us say we know Q is equal to of rho V square. Can we write this in terms of Mach number? You have already studied Mach number. Rho by by 2 v square. How to write v square? V square by a square equal to m square. Correct? Do you remember m is equal to v by a?
Yes, sir.
Well, v is the velocity of the vehicle and a is the, what is a?
Local velocity of sound, sir.
Yeah, local velocity of sound. So I write this as rho by 2 m square a square. What is a?
Root of gamma RT.
Root of gamma RT. So a square becomes gamma RT. So rho by 2 m square gamma RT. Then, do you have some relation between rho RT and P? What is rho RT?
P, sir.
P. So we can write this as gamma T by 2 into m square. Right? So what is P? P is equal to 2 by gamma m square into Q. Right? So P is equal to 2 by gamma m square into Q. Now, we already know this equation, pressure equation. P naught is equal to P naught by P, we used to say 1 plus gamma minus 1 by 2 into m1 square, m square, the whole power gamma by gamma minus 1. Now, I want to write this equation as P naught minus P, that is equal to P into 1 plus gamma minus 1 by 2 into m square, the whole power gamma by gamma minus 1 minus 1. That means I know already P. What is P? 2 by gamma m square into Q into 1 plus gamma minus 1 by 2 into m square, the whole power gamma by gamma minus 1 minus 1. This is P naught minus P. Now P naught minus P in terms of M. So I will consider here for standard condition. So for standard condition, we know that gamma is equal to 1.4. We can write 7 by 5. And I can write this P naught minus P, that is equal to 2 by gamma m square into Q 1 plus so this is 1. Please do the calculation. M square by 5. Here the whole power 7 by 2. Minus 1. So we have the equation here, right? So P naught minus P, right? And this is in terms of m square, right? So you have a m square here, and you have m square here, and finally, oh, sorry, Here also you have a gamma, right? Okay. So finally, we can write based on the binomial relation, we can write this equation as P naught minus P, that is equal to Q into 1 plus m square by 4 plus m power 4 by 40 plus, it will go further. Say in such case, if Mach number becomes 0, what will happen? Someone can say, in this equation, if Mach number becomes 0, what will happen? Anyone? Mugil? Aparna Mahadevan?
Sir, yes, sir.
Yeah, what happens if Mach number m becomes 0 in this equation?
It becomes similar to incompressible equation.
Yeah, so when it becomes 0, this becomes P naught minus P is equal to Q. What is P naught minus P equal to Q? This is for incompressible flow, right? And hence, we can consider this as P naught minus P is equal to Q into K, where K is the compressibility correction factor, right? So correction coefficient for dynamic pressure. Right? So now there is a question. Increase in Mach number, you have a compressibility effect, right? But what happens if m equal to 0? M equal to 0 literally means that there is no flow, right? The velocity is equal to 0. But that is not the real case. When m is equal to 0, nothing will happen. So there is a limitation where in actual flows, when m is less than 0.3, it means that the density changes only limited to less than 5%. So we assume this region as incompressible flow region. Right? So the first equation applicable, and if there is a Mach number more than 0.4, 0.3, then the correction factor comes into picture. Right? So now I ask a question. So m is equal to 1 and m is equal to 2. Calculate the correction factor. So think about the correction factor. Right? So this is the correction factor for the compressibility effect in calculating the flow velocity, right? See here I reduce the equation. 2 by gamma m square into q. I take only q and I put all other information inside, and finally I expand it binomially. Right, and then I get this equation, and finally I arrive to incompressible and compressible equation for the measurement of velocity. So today we have seen, first we have seen the Venturi meter. Before that we have seen the Bernoulli's equation. In the Venturi meter we have considered the quasi one-dimensional flow in a duct. Then we arrive to the one-dimensional continuity equation, and then we have divided that into two convergent and divergent duct, and we have a Venturi. We understand that there is a change in velocity, right? So based on the Bernoulli's theorem, we have considered P1 plus half rho 1 V1 square equal to P2 plus half rho 2 V2 square. Since the density is constant, rho is considered as rho 2, rho 1 equal to rho 2 equal to rho, and then we have arrived to a velocity, that is V1 is equal to 2 into P1 minus P2 into rho into A1 by A2 the whole square minus 1 for the Venturi meter. And then we have started with the pitot static tube. The three pressure we have considered. One is total pressure or stagnation pressure, and another one is static pressure, and another one is dynamic pressure. Usually we used to ask a question, can we measure the dynamic pressure directly? We cannot measure the dynamic pressure directly, but if you know total pressure and static pressure, you can measure that. You can calculate that, right? So again, Bernoulli's theorem, we understand at one point the stagnation point, that is total pressure, and the corresponding P naught is the total pressure. And we have finally have the static pressure plus dynamic pressure equal to total pressure. Then we try to do the compressibility correction by considering the Mach number, converted the dynamic pressure into the function of Mach number, and then we have P naught minus P, that is considered as Q into a correction factor, right? So when M is equal to 0, we have assumed and we got P naught minus P is equal to Q. And then we had a discussion that M equal to 0 cannot be considered because M equal to 0 means there is no flow. And then we assumed that at till 0.3 Mach number, the density variation is only less than 5%, and hence let us assume that flow regime as incompressible flow regime, right? Then I asked you to calculate the M equal to 1 and M equal to 2, what is the percentage of the correction factor. That's all for the today's class. Thank you very much.